welcome to the Cigar Project. My name is Tejas, and I love cigars, and that's why I started this podcast. Today, joining me is Sushant. Sushant is joining me from Boston, USA, and Sushant and I go way back. We graduated together, and then we separated. I went to Australia. Sushant went to the US, and we found common interest in cigars, and we just ended up talking, saying we both smoke cigars. It's a good luxury indulgence, and why don't we do something about it? And hence this podcast. Firstly, we're not trying to promote cigars, smoking, any of these habits. It's just that we like to talk about cigars. We've learned a bit about cigars. We continue learning about it. And we're just discussing our passion. And having said that, welcome, Sushant, man. How are you?
Thank you. Good. Thank you, Tejas. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here, excited to talk about cigars, learn more about it, and happy to share my experiences about cigars at the same time. And yeah, it's good to connect and talk about common interests.
Man, talking of leaves,
Yeah,
that's such a perfect word there. Talking of those
yeah,
leaves to our leaves, how did
yeah.
you get into the leaves journey? How did you find your passion or love for cigars?
Great question. And as we decided to do this, I was kind of revisiting my journey and some of my first experiences with cigars. And it started off, I think I had my first cigar in India. I don't know what cigar it was. I don't know what store it was. It probably wasn't a legit cigar. I just wanted to look cool. So I got one with some of my friends. And I had no idea how to smoke it, how to light it. But we smoked it. It didn't feel great at that point, but it's just something that I had seen in movies. A lot of cool people, actors, celebrities do, kind of wanting to recreate that as a young adult. And that was my first try with the cigar. But my first real experience was in the US, as I met some people who were into cigars, and I was always open to that experience, and I wanted to learn more
You
about it.
know, it's really funny. I want to bet at least $100 that the first cigar in India would have been an iGen chocolate flavor. That is the most common one you get in
Probably,
any pan tapri, any shop, any
yeah,
tobacconist. It's roughly 500-600 rupees, maybe increased now. But that's exactly how I started. My reason to start cigar has been Bollywood through and through. Like, no shame in saying that. I saw these cool actors have a cigar, felt badass. And you know what's funny? I've never ever touched a cigarette in my life. I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never touched one. The only denominator of trying a cigar was to look cool, as simple as that. It was, I think,
yeah,
after when I was 26 and I tried that. Went to Australia and I found a club where people come and
interesting.
teach about cigars. Like there are some novices like me who go there. They sit with
Yeah,
connoisseurs and they're like, "Come, let me teach you, Padawan. Okay, this is a cigar. This is a leaf. This is how you cut it." And my first cigar cut was with a knife, a bread knife. Because
I'm sure I've done that in the past.
like very first, I think I was 25, 26 now, and
Yeah.
8, 9 years down the line, now I use like a proper cutter. You've invested in that. You have a proper cigar, which is there's like a
Hmm.
brand and things like that. But now, amazing, man. What do you like a lot about cigars?
Um, Personally, I do like the smoky flavor in a lot of things. I do like the activity of smoking a cigar with a bunch of friends, maybe having a good whiskey. Again, not promoting any kind of consumption of alcohol or cigarettes or cigars, but it's just an experience that I have personally enjoyed with some of my friends. I like the smoky flavor. It also goes very well with if you're into grilling or barbecuing, which is something that I'm very passionate about, and do like smoked meats, grilling, so cooking for other people. So all of that combined together, it's a very good social experience with your set of people. And yeah, I've always enjoyed the company of people who enjoyed similar things.
Very educated about cigars. Sushan, how about we
Yeah,
tell if there are
yeah,
any listeners? I don't know if you're gonna have listeners or not, or viewers, but how do you actually cut a cigar? Like, let's actually do it
sure.
and talk about
Yeah.
it. Like, I'll just try and get it as close to
This is what a
that.
cutter looks like. This is how you hold it.
Yeah.
There's and if you want to even describe that there are multiple types of cutters and kind of cuts that you can give a cigar based on how you want to smoke it. Different cigars need different cuts. But
Sure.
this is typically,
Is yours mid strength? Is it high strength? What do you?
yeah, mid strength. Mine is mid strength cider.
Now the beauty of cigars is I've somebody educated me this. There's no actual source I
Yeah.
have for that. But they said if you light it with a matchstick, it preserves the flavor somehow. Now I don't know the beautiful
Oh,
science
okay.
behind it, but it says if you get a good red
Interesting.
matchstick, it the wood, the fire created by that phosphorus is much better for your cigar's health, how it lights up compared to a jet
Interesting.
lighter. But then again, there are different schools of thoughts. So always something to
No,
learn.
that's interesting and definitely something that I may have noticed, not consciously, but now that you mention it, um, I've been to a cigar club maybe a couple times, and I've always seen people light with matchsticks, and there's always a big matchstick on the table at a cigar club. So yeah, interesting point.
Absolutely.
All right.
Uh, so guys, what we did here is firstly, that's the back of a cigar. This is the front. It's very easy to recognize because your general backs will have an enclosed cigar. It will be a covered cigar. There won't be any hole like your cigarettes. There won't be any filter. If you see, we have to cut that for airflow. So you can actually tunnel it inside. And for that, you would definitely want to use a cutter. You place a cigar in that, just cut it. I love this brand, Sushan, if you ever heard of this called Lubinsky. I don't know where they're from, but they make good solid metal cutters, gold and silver and whatnot, and you get fancy brands of that. Not promoting them, just sharing what I like. But that's one good part. The second
Okay.
thing is the structure of a cigar. Like I'm sure Sushant you know, but let's talk about it. What do you see out here? If you guys can see, but otherwise you can pick up any cigar. There are some lines on it, and that is because they've used a special paper. It's called a wrapper. It literally wraps the leaves inside the cigar, and that's why it's called a wrapper. It gives you maximum flavor. Any flavored cigar would most likely have its flavor in the outermost layer because cigars have three layers. Firstly, it is the wrapper on the outside, uh, and then there is the filler, and then there are the leaves. The leaves are literally leaves they pick up. Either they're sun dried or not sun dried or room dried or humidified. There are different ways to that, and then you just get into it. And that's how you roll a cigar, and that's why it is very different from a regular cigarette. And cheers, man.
Cheers.
I've heard that the way you hold your cigar speaks a lot about you. And if a chart, I should find it somewhere. Is it that if you hold it like a cigarette, you are a beginner? If you hold it with two fingers, hopefully, if people can see, then you just started to learn and you know maybe you've been smoking for a bit. If you hold it in three fingers, they say that you're a pensive thinker. I don't think I am. I just like to hold it in three because it's a long tube. How do you hold it?
Um, I kind of keep switching between like a cigarette grip and two fingers.
Have you heard the saying that if you start a cigar, you finish it on the same day, otherwise the flavors disappear?
Um, I haven't heard that, but I've certainly experienced that. It obviously can happen that you start smoking one and for whatever reason that you're not able to finish it. Um, I have kept half of my cigar maybe in the same case as it came in. Um, and it never feels the same relighting it. It's always a different stale flavor to it. It's still fine, but not the most pleasant experience, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look, and I've experienced the same that the wrapper, your cover paper, it starts losing flavor just by oxidation and getting in contact with air. Uh, any thoughts or how do you prefer to store your cigars?
Um, I would love to have a humidor at my place. I currently don't have one. That's the ideal way of storing a cigar in a controlled, humidified environment. But right now, I just keep them enclosed in the case that they came in, and I only open when I really want to smoke a cigar.
Have you got a proper humidor to yourself, or when you say controlled environment, is it a bag and a spray paper?
Yeah, so the way they sell cigars, some of the nicer cigars they usually come in a case like this. This one is in a nicer glass case, but some of them are in a kind of a poly case that's still sealed airtight. And I, to add some additional sealing, I'd keep that in a Ziploc bag for now. I don't have a humidor right now.
You know what? This is a good time to show different types of storages and how people can get a cigar. I'll start with the first and the most easiest one. Most commonly, you'll see one in a wrapper. If you see there's a plastic wrapper around it. By the way, one of my
Right.
favorite brands, Rocky Patel, if you haven't tried it, US based,
No,
but easiest way
yeah,
to get it. You know it's a good cigar. Don't worry. Don't think that somebody's trying to sell you a fake because it's in a plastic one. It's an easy way to preserve it, still goes well. Generally, a good vendor, if it's a tobacconist, it's a shop, it's a cigar vendor, will give you in this. That's absolutely normal. Second, a very commonly available brand will give you in a metal tube, like a tin tube, a nice tube. Gives a good look. One of the better ways to have this, one of the better reasons to have this is it looks good. You can take it around, take a cigar out. It wouldn't bend, especially if you're trying to carry one in your pocket or not in a
yeah,
comfortable bag. Another one you get is these plastic ones. Another one to get them. These are just casings, pretty common. Or these days I'm seeing the rise of these packs. These are humidity packs, and most likely they'll come with a good humidor. Just to show
okay,
what a humidor is, it's a temperature control, humidity control bag. It's a little bag. Bovida is another brand which gives you good ones. This says if you can say 69%, that means it will keep the humidity to 69% should you preserve it well. And then you have these fancy wrappers, like fancy boxes. Again, Rocky Patel, a bit biased about them. Or you can get something very cool and comfortable and fancy. Just around with that. In any case, if you're getting a cigar and if you can preserve it in a humidor, this is a temperature control box, humidity control box. It tells you what the humidity on this is. Also, a beautiful double case cigar. That's ways to get it, buy it, and that brings me that any thoughts you have on how do you buy a full cigar? Like,
that's a very important point. Yeah.
well, cigars are meant to be enjoyed for their flavors, which means you mouth fat, right? That's a very derogatory term for a cigar smoking ritual, but I'll say don't inhale it, mistake it. Best way to enjoy that. A couple of brands I feel uh, there is something called as a new world cigar, an old world cigar, an old cigar, traditional cigar. I advise people to start with a new age cigar or new world cigar if they're starting so they can mature onto the other ones. It's just like wine. You start with a very basic plate, understand what's the difference between a beer and a wine first, then level up. So I think that's how you start with a good cigar. Oh, I did one of the stupidest thing, which I always tell people not to do, is don't tap your ash. Now there are lots of, at least what learning I've got is, unlike any other smoking tunnels, you don't tap it, you let it become a big long centimeter of ash and it falls on its own. Because
Right.
somebody, and this is word to word, that your ash keeps enhancing the flavor and it adds to the airflow. So it's okay to have that. Now,
Yeah. No, that's and to pick up on one of the an important points, that's how I know a lot of connoisseurs of whether it's food or wine sommeliers or cigar enthusiasts. What helps people in exploring cigars is having a way to document what you experience in terms of the flavor profile, in terms of what cigars you have liked or disliked, or whether it's wine or whiskey or cigars. That's how they practice. What did you taste? What did you taste in the beginning? What did you taste at the end? That's how you grow your taste palette and your knowledge about any of these things. That's a great point.
You said a word knowledge, and that just probed me a bit. Let's talk about the structure of a cigar. I'm sure you know this. This is more for the viewers, listeners, everybody. That I touched upon this, that the outermost paper. So, firstly, a cigar consists of three elements, three things. Okay? There are three different types of leaves that go into this. Unlike a cigarette, doesn't have any filter, it directly comes to you. The outermost paper, generally the most good-looking, handsome paper, you choose it based on its color, based on its structure, its texture. You can't see much here, what I'm able to see, but that's called a wrapper. Inside the wrapper, it literally wraps everything together. There is inside the second layer, it's called a binder, which holds the third most, the core layer, which will get together tighter. It also has its own flavors, but main work of the binder is to burn and continue the smoke, let it flow inside. Now, I learned a very sexy term for cigar smoking. Like you smoke a cigarette, but you tunnel the cigar. Because it's literally a big, broad tunnel. And you inhale that, you keep sucking into it, and that's what it's tunneling. So the binder helps in tunneling. And then the fillers are generally the leaves, which is the main tobacco of the cigar. I won't call it the main, but the densely populated cigar bit, which is mainly inside of it. Let's see them. See those brown bits, that is your leaf. So every leaf is different. Every leaf has a name. So I'll keep it from extinguishing. So there are different types of cigar, mainly from the country of origin. Cuban, Nicaraguan, Dominican. Again, where it's come from, those regions definitely are very random, but I've got this Desnudo from Honduras. I don't have a lot of Honduran cigars, but found one, and my sister got me this from Ireland. So they're at different places. That's the structure of a cigar. That's why it's a little more rich and lower than any other type of smoking, and it's really nice. Any other questions you have?
Yeah.
Let's dive into it.
Yeah. One question. Where do you think in a cigar is the best flavor from? Is it at the beginning? Is it at the middle? Is it at the end?
Look, this is my opinion. It's not a fact, or I'm not an expert, but for me, it's always at the start. It's a little more beyond the cigar answer, because I always get excited to smoke a cigar, because if I do it frequently, it will be with friends on an occasion, sharing, and then you're going from a non-cigar smoking environment to suddenly having that first hit where you're like, oh, I'm going to be smoking this type of cigar. Like you read about it, you do your research, and then it actually hits you. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a dusky, it's going to be an earthy, it's going to be a more oil-drenched cigar. Cubans have their own different ways. And finally, after 8 years of indulging in cigars, being able to identify different origins just by smoking it. Somebody gives me, at least I can tell it could be one of these. And so the first flavor which hits me, that's my best. And the second, this would be a more common answer, is if you get a good pairing. Again, it's not just you have a good scotch, it's with scotch, lighter scotch, milder scotch, with a good mild medium cigar. Very, very seldom I smoke a full-bodied, hearty, high-strength cigar, which is mainly a couple of shots. I'm a big sucker for a good pumps. That's the second hit when you have your whiskey. They both are pairing and romancing each other. How about you? What was your best flavor?
No, I agree. I do love a good whiskey or scotch with my cigars. The other thing, if you are a non-drinker, that goes really well with is a good espresso. Just put it out at that point. But typically, I do like to smoke the whole thing. I don't like going for extra long cigars. I like going for a standard length, around 8 inches. But yeah.
when you said extra long, we have to get this back. This is a proper full Churchill. It's a Romeo and Juliet, Havana. They've just called it Churchills. Absolutely long. Just to give a size comparison, that's my palm. It's a decently long
Yeah.
human palm, and it's more than that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I agree. I like smoking shots on a regular basis. I won't say regular, but commonly I smoke a shot.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, that's a type of cigar, but it's literally shots. I call it shot. Long one, which I showed you the Churchill, quite commonly known that. This is a mid-size, medium strength cigar. I like shots. Good punchy power. You can finish it easy on your throat, and you overall you don't have the stress of finishing it, cutting it, and keeping it. Just at this juncture, if somebody feels they cannot smoke their first cigar fully, don't have enough friends, the best way to store it is you've already cut it at the back. Let's say you're trying to finish it at this, there's ash. Take your cutter from behind, don't go at the front. Take it from behind, take it all the way up when you have to finish it. Cut it off completely where there is no ash meeting. You waste a little bit. It's your first cigar, you take it like that. And then you just keep it. Quick point on storage. If you do not have a fancy humidor like this wooden beautiful case, simply take a plastic bag. If you have a Tupperware, a regular plastic bag, take a regular tissue paper, spray some water on it, like spray, don't soak it in water, spray, or if you can dab it with water, that gives you enough humidity, put it in this. Okay. That's the best way. If you've seen this anywhere, that's not a cheap steak, it's not a cheap thrill. It is a smart way to store it if you don't have a fancy thing, or if you can invest in a few Bovidas, nothing like it. So don't be hesitant to just put it in a plastic bag. Tupperware, it's one of the smartest thing to store it in that. Don't need Tupperware, like just put it in that, but definitely a tissue paper, like your standard tissue paper, it's nothing fancy. Spray some water, put it in there. Try and finish what's remaining within a day or two, especially if it's your first one, that's absolutely fine. Or give it to someone who can finish it, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah, no, that's good advice.
What's been like a crazy ass, fancy, kick-ass, badass moment for you smoking cigars? Like, is there an incident where you were like, "Oh, smoking a cigar, this happened"? It was just like it takes a whole smoking to a whole year because, like, you can't deny you feel a little badass when you're smoking a cigar, even if you it just transforms you to a world. If you have a story.
Yeah. This might sound a little bit cliche, but the best experience or the best time I enjoy having a cigar is when it's a little chilly outside, and if you have access to a hot tub, and you open a nice bottle of your favorite liquor, scotch or whiskey, get a glass for yourself and your buddy, and get in the hot tub and you light up a cigar. And it's a little chilly outside, and that feeds it. That's a Tony Montana uh, vibe right there.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't have a hot tub here, but I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
This is not a whose dick is bigger competition, but just share mine. So,
Yeah. No, neither do I. But whenever I've traveled somewhere, I specifically look for an Airbnb with a hot tub. That's my favorite activity.
that was the
Yeah,
best.
it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because similarly, the moment which I always recollect is on the water. So I was on a boat. Like it was just me and my father. We had taken this boat to go into Sydney Harbour, and smoking with your father is a big taboo for us, middle class Indian boys. It's like, बाप के सामने कैसे smoke करेगा? But I politely, scaredly, like a little scared kid, asked my father, "Is it okay?" Like he knows that I smoke cigar. Is it okay if I, earn one in front of him? He's like, "Oh yeah, I would love to join." And he was in the middle of nowhere, and blue waters, just our boat, just a couple of boats around, and yachts around. In that tiny little boat, I burned my cigar. I was imparting my little knowledge to my father. I sat up there with him. And he was like, give it to me. And I'll try, I'm not good at editing, but I'll try and put his photo in this. And he was at the nose of the boat. And he was just sitting like a boss, like a big, bulky dude, like a main boss. And he was just smoking a cigar. And he didn't give it back to me for a long time. I was like, you have to share it. And that moment is such a beautiful moment with my father. And he's smoking a cigar in style. He knows nothing about cigars, but he knows nothing about style. So he's smoking. I'm just scaredly sitting there, like, okay, Baba, thank you. I just had this beautiful conversation, some
Well,
random conversation, but
that's a core memory right there.
it's a core memory. And then looking at that, like looking at that photo,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm too sure, but it's a cigar, I get it. And trust me, when I just started smoking, I would hold one with just like 2, 3 tumblers. I'd be like, oh, post it on Instagram. I have been through that phase. I have,
Yeah.
but I think if you really want to get into the world of cigars, just try and more of just enjoy the flavor, just like a good wine. Learn more about it, then go on to that. Don't try to show off. Don't start dabbing your cigar to get the ash off. Let it fall by itself. And please don't hold it like this, like cigar. That's my thing. Nothing against
Yeah.
everyone's own style. Again, not an expert in any way. Definitely. But that's it. That's what I have.
Yeah.
Almost about a friendship.
But-
Then
Yeah.
again, sounds good, man.